Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. In today's video I'm going to be drawing and painting a cyclamen plant, doing a little study of it and picking out some of the shapes of the petals and the leaves. These are a nice plant to have at this time of year. You can often see them in the supermarkets around about now throughout the autumn and into winter, and they can really bring some cheerful colour into the house as we go out of summer and into the winter months, so I always like to have them around. The reason for doing this today was they're a very easy plant to do in quite a stylised way because there's a lot of very definite lines there. So rather than doing a detailed study, which is much more, I'm trying to search for the word, doing a complete study where you do an observational drawing of the whole plant, I was picking out various flowers and leaves and looking at the shapes. And if you look at the petals, nearly all of them are curled, but they've also got very defined edges to them, and the base of the flower is very flat. Each one has 5 petals, and it's nice to draw them in different stages of the life. So you've got the flowers that are fully out, you've got some in bud and some just coming out of bud. I didn't actually have any of the ones that had died and dropped the petals because they're quite an interesting shape as well. They're nice and round. So within the shapes that you've got these very straight stems, and they're often clumped together, and lots of leaf all clumped together. But rather than doing a very busy picture and drawing all of that leaf and flower, I decided to just pick out those shapes, do a few of the leaves and some of the flowers to make us get that impression of the cyclamen. We very much know it is a cyclamen when we're finished. It's very different to any other plant. But not to draw the whole busy plant and get really mixed up and muddled up in all the leaves. So like I said, that was mainly the idea behind it, was to make it quite stylized. And if you like line drawing and if you like doing very definite lines, this will suit your style. So I just want to talk through the colours that I used. Obviously I've done it in pencil first of all. You will have seen that I drew round a plant pot to make it a circular composition. Of course, if you wanted to do this, there's no reason to do a circular composition. If you don't want to, you could do any composition you like. I decided to leave it the space on the left hand side. Quite often when we're thinking about a composition, we forget about space, especially as a beginner, and space is a good thing to include in your paintings. And if you look at the plant itself, there is space in between the stems and in between the flowers, which stand quite proud of the leaves. So it was nice to leave that little bit of space there. So I started by drawing around the plant pot, then I did my lines in pencil, then I came on top with a nice fine liner which was light fast and waterproof. When you've done your pencil lines, don't always stick quite rigidly to them when you go over with your ink. Look again at the subject that you're doing and think maybe if things need altering. Then allow the ink to dry a little bit before you erase those pencil lines. Then after that I just went in with some watercolour, and you'll see that I did this mainly wet in wet, i.e. putting wet paint onto either wet paper or paint that's already there. So the colours that I used were Carmine, Winsor Violet, Burnt Sienna, Sap Green and New Gamboge. So not too many colours. The pale pinks were the Carmine on its own, and then for the darker colours I mixed that with the Winsor Violet. And the stems were Winsor Violet mixed with Burnt Sienna, which if you haven't tried mixing those two colours before, they make a lovely rich colour. And then I used the Sap Green on its own for the leaves, and for the darker areas of the leaves I mixed the Sap Green with the Winsor Violet and the Burnt Sienna mix. So again, that gave quite a nice rich colour. So just have a bit of a play with mixing other colours into your green. If you mix a red colour, which Burnt Sienna is pretty on the red side, and in some places I actually mix the Carmine in with the Sap Green as well, you can make some nice interesting colours. And then the background was done with New Gamboge. I did wonder whether to leave it white or not, but actually I like yellow and pink together. They're quite a vivid combination. They sort of set each other off quite nicely. I like them, and I think it worked actually. I really thought about doing it brighter, thought about doing a cadmium yellow, but actually I think the Gamboge being a bit more translucent and letting the paper show through, I think it worked well with the pink and the green. You'll notice as I'm painting, the picture itself looks completely different once I add the green. When I've just got the flowers there and the pinks, it looks a little bit boring. As soon as I start putting the green against it, the whole thing peps up a bit. So if you've got a cyclamen at home, or if you want to treat yourself to one, it's a nice little exercise to do. So most of the flowers have got 5 petals, I think they're all the same. Have a look at the leaves, very distinctive shape, the way they go in towards the stem. Most of the petals have got those nice curls on them. The flowers are very flat across the bottom, so make it a study of the flower. Look at each individual element and take one petal at a time. And let's get those lines in right. So really look, use your eyes. In this exercise, your eyes are more important than your hands. Well, they always are, but you really use your eyes and look at where those lines are and think about it one line at a time. Okay, so I hope you found that useful. Any questions, please do let me know down below in the comments. I'm trying to think if there's anything I've forgotten to tell you. There most probably is. Those of you that haven't noticed, that maybe don't know that I've got classes on Skillshare, I just released a new one last week, a much more in-depth course over there, and we did that on a harbour scene. So if you want to have a look at that, I will put the link down in the description below. Again, that's in ink and watercolour, and we talked through all the full process there. So the courses I've got on Skillshare are much longer than the ones I have on YouTube, and we go into much more detail because the step-by-step course is broken down into classes, and then at the end you can upload your work for me to critique and get back to you on that, and you can ask me questions as you go along. So I will put the link down below in the description to my latest Skillshare course, and I do thank those of you that are continuing to do those. It's great that I'm getting so many new students along the way on Skillshare at the moment, so thank you very much for that. Okay, so thank you for joining me. I'll be back again very soon with another YouTube tutorial or demonstration. In the meantime, enjoy your own painting and drawing, and do get in touch if you have any questions at all to ask. Bye bye for now.